What does a Regis divorce, a Regis bankruptcy, and a Regis personal injury claim have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care. Convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. We work 100% for the 99%. Over 20 years, we've helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. Y sí, hablamos español.
And welcome to Millennium TV 24. You're watching the Good Looking News with who? Yes, me, Kim Seabrook. And as you know what I always like to do, I like to start it off with what's going on right here in New York City. And actually the whole show is going to be based off New York. It's Sunday. I thought we'd find out what's going on here. And also have a special guest in our second segment. But let's just get busy and let's start with our first story. And what's big in the news, Governor Andrew Cuomo, he could collect at least $50,000 in taxpayer money a year in state pension, even after resigning over his sex pest scandal. Cuomo could lose his pension if he is convicted of a felony, the Empire Center reported. Under New York's Public Integrity Reform Act, people convicted of a felony related to their public service may have their retirement benefits reduced or revoked. This isn't automatic, however, and requires the state AG or the DA that brought the charges to launch court action seeking to forfeit the benefits. Cuomo is facing 3 criminal investigations from the district attorneys of Manhattan, Albany, and Westchester. One of his accusers, executive assistant Brittany Camiso, filed an allegation of criminal conduct against the governor with the Albany Sheriff's Office 2 days after James' report was released. Camiso is named as executive assistant number 1 in the report. She has accused the governor of groping her breasts at the executive mansion in Albany in November. She also told investigators the Attorney General's office that Cuomo once rubbed her rear end while they were posing together for a selfie. No charges have yet been filed against the governor. However, Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple has said, based on the information available so far, Cuomo could be slapped with just a misdemeanor charge. Yes, it could lead to an arrest, and would our agency be affecting that arrest? Yes, absolutely, they said in the press. They said that just this past Saturday. He also added that while he couldn't yet say if it could lead to a misdemeanor or a felony charge, from what I have read so far, it is floating around a misdemeanor, but that's just from the Attorney General's report. While the outcome of the criminal probes could impact Cuomo's entitlement to his pension, impeachment would have no bearing, and he would still have been able to enjoy the lifetime pension, according to the Empire Center. However, state lawmakers introduced a bill last week to prevent anyone who has been impeached from collecting a pension in the wake of the release of James' report. State Senator James Scoffles and Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara put forward the bill, which would also be backdated to impact officials who were impeached before its passing. New York State Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie announced Friday that the impeachment committee had suspended its investigation. Heastie said Cuomo's resignation was removed from the central question of the probe over whether he should remain in office, and that they couldn't impeach an official who was no longer in office. However, he admitted that if they continued with the investigation, and that's based on the evidence, that they would have likely voted to impeach. The probe was launched back in March following James' reports. Lawyers were working for the state assembly, and they gave Cuomo until August 13th to respond to the allegations or provide documents to bolster his defense. The decision to then drop the investigation after his resignation sparked a backlash as it frees up Cuomo to run for office again in the future. Alrighty. Well, next what we have, stand clear of the opening doors. I like to say that, give that little ring. You know what that is from, right? The New York City Transit, the train. Yes, stand clear of the opening doors as New York City's Transit Museum is expected to welcome visitors in the late summer. So that's coming up real soon. The New York Transit Museum is slated to reopen later this summer, roughly a year and a half after the pandemic was forced the attractions to close its doors. The exact date of the reopening has not been set, and museum officials said that the place presents more COVID-related challenges than other museums, like the Metropolitan Museum of Art that reopened last year. And the museum's gift shop is in Grand Central Terminal. It opened in the past week. The next step is to fully open the Transit Museum's main location in an 85-year-old Brooklyn subway station no longer used for passenger service. I am thrilled to open the doors to our Grand Central Gallery this week and look forward to reopening the museum's subway station home in downtown Brooklyn as soon as possible, said the New York Transit Museum Director Concetta Bensi-Venga. The museum, which is overseen by the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, has a fleet of vintage trains that guests are free to roam. It's a popular attraction for families with children. But because many of the museum's youngest fans have autism or compromised immune systems, and because COVID-19 vaccines are only available for children ages 12 and up, there's a higher risk that the virus could spread and that the Transit Museum than in more museums geared toward adults, museum officials say. And another factor is that the museum is very interactive, so there's a lot of feel and touch. And that's giving museum officials another reason to worry about spreading the germs. That's understood. But masks are expected to be required when the museum reopens, despite Governor Cuomo lifting the state's COVID restrictions. And next in New York, with a rebirth, the New York Carnival returns virtually and in person. Foregoing its colorful, costume-filled, million-person-plus Labor Day parade, the West Indian American Day Carnival Association last week announced the rebirth of New York Carnival 2021. It's going to be a reshaped and reduced three-day festival of virtual and in-person events adhering to COVID-19 precautions. The carnival events held in conjunction with the Brooklyn Museum that takes place September 3rd, 4th, and 6th. Looking ahead, if health conditions permit, the association plans to return to its big and festive in-person Labor Day parade in September of 2022. We are flexible with our programming this past year and focused more on helping our community through our WIADCA Cares program. And that was said by Chairperson Michelle Gibbs Francis, looking back at the community initiatives that the association conducted during the COVID-19 lockdowns and the restrictions. On September 3rd, the Carnival's Welcome Back cultural music show comes to the Brooklyn Museum grounds, starting at 7 p.m. Performers and music genres from throughout the African diaspora will be featured with music by DJ Pink Assassin Stax, international DJ Spice, and others. There will also be tributes to the late Kassav band guitarist and lead singer Jacob DeSavere, and Taboo Combo, co-founder and drummer Herman Now, and the Caribbean Talent Showcase of Cultural Performances headlines the Carnival's virtual International Youth Fest on September 4th, starting at 11 a.m. The Kid Focus show will stream live on YouTube, Facebook, and at carnival.nyc. Later on September 4th, a Caribbean fan favorite, the Steel Pan Jamboree of live melodic performance of steel bands and soloists will be held at the Brooklyn Museum grounds starting at 7 p.m. Purchase tickets for the Welcome Back and Steel Pan Jamboree and get more information, go to carnival.nyc and select New York Carnival Week for 2021 events. And what do we have going on in the ex-Yankees? An ex-Yankees prospect called out after 2-kilo coke sale to New York City undercover cop. A former Yankee prospect was called out by cops when he tried to sell 2 kilos of cocaine to an undercover officer. Borinque Mendez, 23 of New Jersey, who played 5 games for the now defunct Staten Island Yankees, was hit with drug possession charges late Friday in Manhattan Criminal Court. Mendez and 3 other men brought the drugs to an undercover officer on Quimby Avenue. That's near Olmsted Avenue in Unionport, right here in the Bronx on Thursday night, police said. The drugs were handed to the cop in a white plastic shopping bag. The 4 suspects had offered to sell them to the officer for $31,000 a kilo a few hours earlier during a meetup at a fast food restaurant on Bruckner Boulevard. On Friday, a Manhattan criminal court judge ordered Mendez held on $75,000 bail. The Dominican Republic-born second baseman and shortstop was picked up by the New York Yankees in 2016 and bounced around a few of the organization's Gulf Coast League teams before landing with the Staten Island Yankees. He was released from the Staten Island team in June 2020, about 6 months before it announced it was ceasing operations. But the ballplayer's lawyer claimed in court that Mendez is still part of the Yankees organization. He was a player in single A ball, but it got shut down by COVID, attorney Gary Lesser said late Friday, and he's a member of the New York Yankees team. It was not clear if the 3 men arrested with Mendez were involved with Major League Baseball. And, oh gosh, yes, terrible, terrible news. A tour bus crashes on New York Thruway, which injures 57, some seriously. So a tour bus bound for Niagara Falls ran off the New York State Thruway, and it rolled over in central New York, sending more than 50 people to the hospitals, state police and hospitals has said. The bus landed on its side in the grass around 12:40 p.m. along the highway's westbound side near Weedsport, a village about 25 miles west of Syracuse. Some 57 people were aboard, and all were taken to hospitals for injuries ranging from minor to serious, state police said. It's unclear why the bus veered off the road, troopers said in a news release, but police photos showed papers and other items strewn around the white bus as it rested on the road shoulder. The bus was headed to Niagara Falls from Poughkeepsie in the Hudson Valley. The bus left around 6 a.m. on one of the trips Urega who had organized for the summer. A few children were aboard, one possibly just a month old, Urega said. His mother was taken to a hospital with glass in her eye and needing back surgery. But he was just relieved that she has survived. It's a miracle, especially since another relative survived the bus crash in the past. This time around, it hits me twice as hard to know that it had happened to both of them already, and both of them made it. Thankfully, Auburn Community Hospital received about 27 patients, including the driver, and was assessing their condition, spokesperson Matthew Chatterin said. All right, getting tongue-tied there. But today, 3 were transferred to Upstate University Hospital in Syracuse. Upstate is the area's top-level trauma center, a hospital especially equipped to handle serious injuries. Upstate received 25 patients in all, and Daryl Jedis said he couldn't immediately provide information on their conditions. It wasn't immediately clear what company or agency owned the bus or what caused the crash. But what we are going to do is go into a quick break, and when I come back, I have a special guest. His name is Reggie Mitchell, and we're going to get into a great story with him.
A Regis bankruptcy and a Regis personal injury claim have in common Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care, convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. We work 100% for the 99%. Over 20 years, we've helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. Y sí, hablamos español.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
I am Kim Seabrook. You've been watching the Good Look in News, and I thank you so much for staying tuned in. This segment right here, we have an amazing gentleman by the name of Reggie Mitchell. He is also a radio talk show host at WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Right here, Reggie Mitchell. Hey, what's going on there, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, Miss GoodLook Seabrook? Glad to be here. I love your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, you know we love you. I mean, the community loves you. You are a big voice, like it says, the voice of Harlem. So you are well respected in Harlem. You do live upstate New York, but you are a true New Yorker. You're on the show. The reason is because I had initially wanted to talk to some people who not recently, but who had a drug addiction before and overcame many obstacles. But give them some background on who you are, and then we could get into that story.
Okay, I'm Reggie Mitchell, and I do live upstate right now, but I'm from the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx, and moved to Harlem, and I'm a community activist, community organizer in Harlem and other parts of the world. I do a lot of community service. I'm a 20-year veteran, retired from the Army in 2010. And, I recently moved upstate 4 years ago, and I'm enjoying myself, and I'm just doing a lot of community service work and just helping other people. My mission is to always help someone else.
Absolutely. And you definitely do that, Reggie. Why is it important to help someone else? Because there's so many people who always think about themselves, but tell people, what's the benefit? What do you get out of helping other people?
Well, after being helped by so many people, and I still continue to be helped by others, it's real important to put your own egos aside and to say, listen, it's not about me anymore. There are people out there that need help, and there are people out there that want help.
Right.
So I offer my services free of charge, consultations. I use the platforms that I have, whatever they may be, and it's important to give back. It really is. I mean, Kim, I breathe this stuff. I breathe it and I live it. It's a labor of love. It's not a paid gig. I am retired, but just so important to give back to those less fortunate, because I remember being less fortunate.
Absolutely, and that's the main reason, like I said, why you're on here. You went through some struggles. That's
Yes.
how you also became a part of Brother in Recovery. So talk about
Absolutely.
the process and your past. I have a past with myself, my parents, family members. So let's talk about it.
Well, basically, I grew up in drugs and alcohol in the family. My mother drank a lot of alcohol. My brothers sold drugs in the house, outside on the street in the South Bronx, and so it was all about me. I know that's kind of like a cliche, that figure that, okay, I would get into drugs and alcohol some years further into the road, but it was in my household, so that's all I saw.
Right.
It was rough. My mother had 14 children, 8 boys and 6 girls.
Wow.
And in the 60s and the 50s, that was something, to feed. And so my family did whatever they needed to do to help my mother along, because she had an alcohol addiction. So, I grew up in the projects in the South Bronx, and that's where my physical addiction started. But I was already addicted from, growing up in it.
In the environment, absolutely. Understood.
I got caught up in crack, needless to say, that era in the 80s. Crack was prevalent in the South Bronx and other areas in the 80s, late 80s, mid 80s, and I became victim to it. I fell victim to it, and basically I lost everything. I lost my home, I lost my family, I became a bum on the street. You would not even know I'm the same person.
Wow. I got goosebumps. Yeah. But you said the right word. You became a victim, because that was planted in our communities to destroy us. And I think, how did it affect your family? Because you said you lost your family. So were you a father at that time already?
Yes, I was. I was a father. I was in the projects in the South Bronx. I was actually working a decent job. I was going to work every day, but somehow stuff coming to our community, someone asks you to try something, and you want to be down, the peer pressure of it all, and before I knew it, I was addicted, caught up in that grip, and my baby's mother at the time, she asked me to leave, because she's heard stories about people on drugs and the things they could do. And so she asked me to leave, so I had to go to the streets. And the streets is a different learning experience. Now you got to learn the ways of the streets.
Right.
You have to actually learn how to be a bum and how to take advantage of soup kitchens, shelters, panhandling. Those are learned behaviors. I didn't just wake up one morning and say that's what my life was going to be.
Right.
There was a series of obstacles, and that was it. That was all I was going to do. At least I thought anyway. I thought I would die out there, just in an abandoned building somewhere by myself, smoking crack, and someone would find me, and my family would, they would see me in the community, or others would see you in the community, and they would call your family and say, "Oh, I saw your brother Reggie," or "I saw your uncle Reggie. He looks terrible. He asked me for a quarter," stuff like that. It was rough. It was a really rough thing, but here I am today. Thank God.
Exactly. And look at you. I mean, you sharp. You would never ever think, because I was just at an event with you, Mr. Reggie Mitchell, and you had that white and you had that two-step going, so you would have never thought. But there's so many people in our community who have went through it, because the reality is that mostly all of my friends' parents, including mine, were on crack. Again, it was planted in our communities to destroy us. So it wasn't an uncommon thing. It was like, if your parents weren't like, "Dang, what? You're good." Okay. If that's what it was more like. How did your kids adjust to that situation? And how do they look at you now? Because there's some kids who are still regretting their parents' behavior at that time and not understanding that it really wasn't their fault. I know people make choices, but there was a lot going back in the 80s, and it was so prevalent in our communities. How did your kids react?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because actually, to be honest, my kids, I had one at the time, didn't know anything about my drug use, because he was so young. He was like 1.5.
Oh, okay.
And he don't, to this day. I mean, I've been clean over 34 years.
Okay.
So my sons now are like 35, 37, and 39. Okay. So they actually never saw it.
They didn't experience
that. They never
that.
saw
Okay.
it. Even when I tell them about it, they can't believe it, because once I got myself straight and things like that, I came back to reclaim my family. They only saw that. They only remember the goodness. They have no clue. So the other two weren't even born, for the most part, almost yet. So my family didn't have any clue. So what I do is I mentor other families so that they don't fall under that guilt trip of, because your family sometimes makes you fall under a guilt trip because you wasn't there, you was drugged out, you didn't do for them. And that's a bad feeling to be under, because you can't bring it back. You can't pay it back.
Exactly.
You can't get it back at
Exactly.
that time. So I mentor other families, and I try to let them know, listen, it wasn't your fault. You were under the influence of something that was controlling you, and it was a different era and a different time. You just got to do what you got to do today. You can't go back and try to fix anything, because a lot of families, they try to fix what was broken.
Right.
And it's impossible to do it. Your loved ones, if they were around during that, and they may never forgive you, but you got to keep on moving forward.
Exactly. I think the main thing is you forgive yourself, because if you keep dealing with that unforgiveness from everybody else, then it puts a lot of pressure on you, and then you don't grow as a person. So I think once you forgive yourself, and if they can't seem to understand it, then they need to learn to forgive themselves as well. And then, hopefully that situation will mend. That is awesome. What was your breaking point? What was it that, because everybody has that breaking point. That's what it is.
Well, there's always going to be some folks that someone knows that knows you or seen you that might come to you and say, listen, your mother sent me to you, your brother or whatever sent me to you. I can offer you some help. And, generally you don't want the help, because you're getting high. You want to continue getting high. You don't want no one to interrupt that. When you're getting high and you're in the midst of active addiction, the last thing you want is someone to come to you and tell you that you need help, because you're in denial about it. You think you're all right. You don't even see the circumstances around you. So the breaking point in a lot of people's lives is their bottom. How low is your bottom? That's your breaking point. People have different bottoms. My breaking point was, I guess I finally got tired. I finally got tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I allowed one of those people one day that used to come around and ask me that I need help. I allowed that person to help me, and I made that decision to go away and get some help. So that my breaking point was that I really got tired of being a bum. I mean, it was rough, so that was my breaking point. And I haven't looked back since. That was 1987, March 2nd. Yes. I remember it. I remember it like it's today. I never forget that time. And I haven't looked back since, but it's a lot of work to continue to be in recovery. It's a lot of work.
Especially coming back to your community. That's the thing. Yeah. I could see if
Absolutely.
You went back upstate or somewhere far, you came back to the community after recovery, and that's hard. I've seen my mother do it, and I give her a lot of respect and props for being able to come back to that same building, same situation, and grow and still continue to be clean. So kudos to everyone who has been in recovery. Kudos to the ones who haven't still even found that point, like many blessings to everyone. So give us some.
It's never too late.
Huh?
And it's never too late to get yourself together if you still have breath in your body. Some of us are going to die out there never having gotten a chance to get recovery in their life. And some of us are going to get recovery. They could be 70 years old. I've known people 70 years old that gotten into recovery. It's never too late if you're still alive. It's just about your bottom.
Absolutely. So let's say somebody's watching you right now who is having some issues and would like to go into recovery. What advice would you give them?
Well, I would ask them to contact their neighborhood rehab or contact someone that knows. Contact me. I mean, we have people that work in rehab on speed dial, or they can contact me, and through Brothers in Recovery, we could find them some help, but they have to be willing, because it's easy to say you want some help. And then when you tell them, okay, I got you a bed, it's time to go right now, then they might not be willing to go right now. It's a difficult transition. It's easy to say you want some help, but when the help comes, are you ready?
Absolutely.
So I would tell people, yes, contact me. They can contact Brothers in Recovery. They can text me, email me, and or they can contact their local rehab center. But it's kind of difficult with the COVID now. There are not many beds available.
I was going to say that.
Right.
But there are resources, even if it's not in person, online, on phone. There are resources, and there are people who genuinely care, like Mr. Reggie Mitchell right here. And our time is up already. Time flies so fast on this segment. But Reggie, let them know how they can find you, please.
Yes. You could find me on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Reggie Mitchell. You can find me on Instagram, Ask Reggie. You can find me on email, rmitchell125@gmail.com. That's one word, like Reggie Mitchell, rmitchell125@gmail.com. Or they can call me. I don't mind giving out my number, 646-633-7539. And you can definitely find me on all social media platforms. Or you can just come to Harlem and say, where's Brother Reggie?
That's right. He's on 125th selling socks. And what else you got on that table over there?
I got socks and t-shirts. I'm a licensed vendor, so you can find me in Harlem. Everybody knows me.
Right there by the State Building. You better recognize.
Right. That's right. Or go on social media. You can see what I'm doing. I'm doing a couple of events coming up. So please, feel free.
Absolutely. Reggie Mitchell, as always, it's a pleasure to be in
space
with you. I love you too. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And we'll be right back on Millennium TV 24. I'm Kim Seabrook. You're watching A Good Look in News.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What does a Regis divorce, a Regis bankruptcy, and a Regis personal injury claim have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care. Convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. We work 100% for the 99%. Over 20 years, we've helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. Y sí, hablamos español.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
And welcome back to Millennium TV 24 on the Good Look in News. You know who I am, Kim Seabrook. And if you missed that segment, that was Reggie Mitchell talking a little bit about his past history and what he is doing right now to help others in their situation. But let's get on to the next story. The next story, the Bronx tenant says that the ceiling has collapsed 2 times. DOB says buildings received over 30 complaints. A tenant in the Bronx says her apartment ceiling collapsed on her 2 times, and now she says that she can barely walk through her living room. Ramona White says she has to climb over debris, metal, and blocks of wood as water continues to drip from the ceiling ever since her apartment ceiling collapsed on her Friday morning. It just came tumbling down. The ceiling just came tumbling down, said Wright. Wright, whose lawyer has advised her that she not show her face, says her ceiling has leaked on and off for years, but that it first fell down on July 15th. She says it happened again on Friday. This time she says that the fire department had to come by. Wright says that the building's owner, Wavecrest Management, very interesting, did nothing. The super keeps saying, I'm coming back, I'm going to fix it, and nobody ever comes back and does anything, says Wright. Her apartment building on Anthony Avenue has received over 30 complaints, according to the Department of Building Sites. The DOB says that it's found potential housing maintenance code issues with the property. And we also tried to contact Wavecrest, but was told to call back on Monday. In the meantime, Wright says that she feels unsafe in her own home. They don't want to fix anything in this apartment, and at this point, I don't want to stay here no more, said Wright. Wright says she's looking into filing a lawsuit against the property. And we also have reached out to the Department of Housing, Preservation, and Development and hasn't heard back yet. Wright says HPD says an inspector will come by on Tuesday. Today is Sunday. This happened when? Yeah, that's a problem here. That is a serious problem. But next we have family, friends of woman killed in Brooklyn street racing, crash call for justice clad in a white t-shirt with her photo printed on the front. Family and friends marched Friday evening to the Brooklyn intersection where Ania Wesley Blandon was killed earlier this week. A 20-year-old woman and her husband was standing at a bus stop in Crown Heights on Monday when a driver racing through the neighborhood struck the couple. They were on their way to work around 3 a.m. when the driver of a red Dodge Charger jumped the curb. The impact of the crash killed Wesley Blandon and left her husband, Kevin Blandon, with major complications. Police say that the driver abandoned the car near Eastern Parkway and Utica Avenue at the site of the crash and fled in another vehicle, with parts of the car left scattered across the 4-lane road. As of Saturday, police had not announced an arrest of the driver that hit the couple or any other drivers speeding through the neighborhood. And that was that neighborhood that night. The woman's family and friends held a vigil at the site of the deadly incident Friday evening. Her family is now calling for lawmakers to increase penalties for street racing. Investigators said that the speed limit on Utica Avenue and citywide is 25 miles per hour, but added that the cars involved in the race and the crash were going far faster than that. Residents in the area said that the particular stretch of road where the crash occurred has been a problem spot because it's a downhill slope. And next, unfortunately, we have this chilling video. Well, this video, thank goodness, I don't have the actual, it's a still shot, but let's go into it. Chilling video shows killer gunned down 21-year-old. This was really horrifying. Horrifying footage obtained on Saturday shows at the moment a cold-blooded assassin fatally shoots a man 7 times in a Bronx deli, turning the store into a scene described by one ex-cop as something out of Carlito's Way. The 14-second surveillance clip from the Friday afternoon ambush inside the BH Gourmet Deli on Bainbridge Avenue in Fordham Manor shows the victim, 21-year-old law and order extra Jaquan Lewis, among at least 5 people in the bodega as he waited to buy a bottle of Poland Spring water. One customer leaves the store as the gunman suddenly emerges from the back dressed in denim shorts, a white tank top, and sneakers, and wearing a black crossbody bag. The killer walks by a man standing near the deli door, lifts his arms, and starts blasting at Lewis, who falls to the ground, his legs seen shaking in the disturbing footage. Lewis was struck 3 times in the chest, 3 times in the arm, and once in the stomach, sources said. The assassination reminds me of the scene from Carlito's Way when Al Pacino's character gets shot by Benny Blanco from the Bronx, said Michael Alcazar, who's a retired NYPD detective who is now an adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. A high-ranking NYPD source says Lewis was killed over a beef on social media and may have had gang ties, which cops are still probing. Joseph Giacalone, an adjunct professor at John Jay College and a former NYPD sergeant, said that the killing appeared personal. It did look very personal. I have no doubt that the victim was targeted. The guy standing next to him could have been easily killed too, but wasn't. Lewis' mom, Marisol Sanchez, denied that her son was involved with the gang, but she says she always worried about his safety and warned him, "I don't want you on the street," before he left home Friday to buy a cold drink on that scorching day. Lewis told his mom, "I love you," before setting out to the nearby deli. "I warned him because so much stuff has been going on around here. I have seen so many shootings, and I have been seeing a lot of killings. That was one of my biggest fears, something happening to my son," said Sanchez, who was wearing a t-shirt with an image of Pablo Escobar that belonged to Jaquan. Sanchez, 46, said her son, who was known as JJ and was one of 5 siblings who loved acting and wanted to study nursing, did not have enemies. His mom said he was an extra on Law and Order, and Lewis also appeared in the 2019 movie Joyland. That's according to IMDb. And Sanchez said he appeared in 2013 the movie The Uninvitable Defeat of Mr. and Pete. And the actor Adewale Akinwumi even asked her son for his autograph, telling him, "I know that you're going to make it one day." Oh, this breaks my heart. He was not a troublemaker. He was not those types of kids, she insisted. If provoked, however, he would fight back, the mom added. Sanchez, a recently retired postal worker, said that the family was thinking of moving from the Bronx because of the escalating violence there. And that's here, right here, where I'm at. "We wanted to go an hour or maybe 2 hours away from there to more of a quiet area," she stated. Shootings in the 52nd precinct, which includes Fordham Manor, increased 46% through August 8th, with 19 up from 13 during the same period in 2020. There were 2 murders through August 8th, a 33% decline from the same period in 2020 when there were 3. Citywide shooting incidents have increased 15% through August 8th to 942 from 820 during the same time frame last year. Murders were up by 0.8% to 260 from 258. Maria, 63, who lived in Fordham Manor for 34 years, said she felt uncomfortable on Bainbridge. "The street is dangerous, and especially after COVID-19 with crazy people on the streets," he said. "I feel nervous all the time, and I have to check my surroundings when I walk. Workers at the BH Gourmet Deli are nervous now too, but unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable like I did before," one said. "But what can I do? I just work here." And next we have New York City to pay criminals not to shoot people, and New York is planning to spend $1 million piloting Advanced Peace. It's a violence prevention program that uses financial incentives. The city will launch a precinct in each borough and pair fellows or young people deemed at risk for being involved in gun crime with formerly incarcerated mentors. Other cities that have implemented advanced peace pay fellows a stipend of roughly $1,000 per month, as well as bonuses for meeting agreed upon goals like getting a driver's license or passing the GED. Mentors will begin training this month, and fellows will enroll in the program later this fall. The pilot is being administered by the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, which oversees MIRAD anti-violence programs that have grown in response to a surge in gun violence. I see advanced peace as an opportunity to put our money where our mouth is, investing in people who have been disinvested for generations, say Kay Bain, who's the executive director of a violence prevention nonprofit, who is also helping coordinate advanced peace with City Hall. Champe Barton, who has more on the program and its challenging rollout. Here is a partnership with the city. I hope something does come out of that. But last and definitely not least, this month is Black Business Month, right? So what we have, I got 5 Black women-owned brands to support this National Black Business Month. And this is by Revolt. I've seen this article. So let's see. We have Hungry Bunny is a virtual donut shop. It's described as 100% cruelty-free cake donuts. Chloe Hines has been serving up her delicious vegan donuts nationwide since April 2020 at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Hines says she used them at home and quarantine, as many businesses did, to jumpstart her online shop and fulfill her dream of being her own boss. You can order from her extensive list of donuts, cookies, and even donut cakes in the comfort of your own home and have your delicious treat shipped directly to your front door. You can follow them on Instagram at Hungry Bunny, but that's HUUNGRY Bunny. And next we have your Pharmacy Advocate. Is designed to offer you personalized care and consultation regarding your medication regimen. Your Pharmacy Advocate is there to help patients understand the medications that they are taking and how to use medicine to truly heal the body. The pharmacists at your Pharmacy Advocate are there to answer any of your questions that you may have about your prescriptions, including how certain food and over-the-counter drugs interact with medicines. Dr. Jerica Dodd. You can follow her at Your Pharmacy Advocate. That's on Instagram. Next, we have the Budgetnista. Founded by former New Jersey preschool teacher Tiffany Eilish, the Budgetnista works with groups as small as 10 to even thousands to offer lessons in financial literacy. Among Eilish's most impactful pursuits through the Budgetnista is the Live Richer movement that specifically helps women who call themselves the dream catchers improve their finances. Overall, the movement has collectively saved more than $250 million and paid off over $200 million in debt. So you can follow her on at The Budgetnista. So just like it sounds, TheBudgetnista. And next we have Gold. What is Gold? Golde, right? So it started in her one-bedroom Brooklyn apartment in 2017. Trinity Musan Welford's vision for Gold was to promote self-care through a line of superfoods. Their products are a celebration of superfoods to effortlessly boost your daily routine, from morning smoothies to skincare. The brand started out by only selling one product, which was the turmeric latte blend, and has since grown into an online store with a full-blown arsenal of nutrient-packed powders and elixirs, including pure matcha coconut collagen powder and a lemon-flavored water enhancer to fight bloating. Outside of edible products on the site, the brand also features award-winning skincare products like the Papaya Bright Face Mask. And in 2019, Muzan Walford began to stock her Gold skincare at the Sephora, making her the youngest Black woman to have her products sold by the beauty giant. That's a lot. Got to give it up to her. You can follow them on Instagram at GOLDE. Next, we have the Melanin Hair Care, founded in 2015 by sisters Whitney and Tafeda White. Melanin hair care was developed as a way to give black men and women access to effective hair care products with high quality ingredients. Co-founder Whitney is known as one of the top hair care gurus on the internet with a YouTube channel that has amassed a following of over 1.2 million subscribers under the name of Natural P85. The brand is known for its host of hair care products, including the African Black Soap Reviving Shampoo, the multi-use pure oil blend, and high-quality head wraps. All products are made without parabens, sulfates, silicone, or mineral oils, which make for the best styling experience for textured hair. Melanin hair products can be purchased directly from their website, but are also available at Ulta Beauty. And that is your news for today. I am Kim Seabrook. You've been watching the Good Looking News on Millennium TV. Make sure to download the apps on your iPhone and your Androids on all your smart TVs. You can watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire Stick. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Kim Seabrook, a Good Looking News, Millennium TV 24.